Hi guys, Tom Morrison here, and we're going to take you through some tips for 20.2. So it is a 20-minute AMRAP of 4 dumbbell thrusters, 6 toes to the bar, and 24 double unders. So we're going to take you through some warm-up tips, some tips for the movements, and then some cool-down tips afterwards. So let us know how you get on, let us know what your score is, and we would love to hear from you, and let's get started. After doing a 5 to 10 minute row or bike just to get yourself moving and get yourself a bit warmer, what we're going to do is use the rig to sit ourselves down into a nice deep squat position, okay? From there, Jenny's going to reach one arm up and over, and this is going to give her a nice lat stretch. This is going to really help with your overhead position. She can also use her opposite arm to start pushing the knee out and start pushing the knee over the toe as well to give that really good deep squat that you're going to need for the dumbbell thrusters. And just hang out here, do one side for 20 seconds, and then swap sides, other side for 20 seconds, and just get really, really deep into that squat. So if you're a wee bit higher, just really try and push yourself down nice and low, rock back and forward. Don't worry if the heels come up a little bit, you're just warming up. After you've done 20 seconds each side, you're going to hop up to a bar. For your first round, keep your feet on the floor, and you're just going to bring yourself through to the front, open everything up, and then press down as hard as you can to try and get your lats going, okay? So just do 10 reps like that, forwards and backwards like that. Then after you've done your 10, you're going to jump back down to the ground again. You're going to go back into that deep squat, and this time really try and sit into as much as you can. Another 20 seconds on each side. Make sure you're really getting that good deep stretch into the lats and really getting deep into the squat as well. After you've done your 20 seconds each side that time, back up to the bar. This time, whenever you're going through to the back, you're going to give yourself a little bit of a pop off the floor and actually leave the ground to give yourself that nice little bit of a kip swing. Awesome. So it's going to be really important for your toes to bar or your knee raises. And then one final round to finish. You're going to go back down, 20 seconds each side again. Awesome. Do some deep belly breathing when you're doing this. And then just before you come up, just give yourself a few wee bounces out of the bottom of the squat as well. So just bounce up and down, because you're looking, boom, bounce up and down for the dumbbell thrusters. And then on your last round, you're just going to do 10 kip swings. So just 10 kip swings, making sure to keep the abs nice and tight every time. So even when you're back here like this, you want the abs to be tight as well. You're not just swinging the legs back behind you, or you will start to swing, which is going to be very inefficient for you. Our final warm-up exercise is going to be a stability drill called the bottom-up press. So what Jenny's going to do is get a kettlebell up, use her other hand to help stabilize it before she presses. It's going to be upside down, and she's going to try and do 3 presses on one arm and then 3 presses on the other arm. Now, with the dumbbell thruster, a lot of people can find that one of their arms overtakes the other one. This is going to help to switch the muscles on. If you're noticing a big, massive difference between what you can do on one arm compared to the other, say you can do 8 kilos on one arm, but you can do 16 kilos on the other arm, then you're going to want to correct that long term. You're not going to correct it before the workout, don't worry too much about it, but if you do happen to notice that, then I highly recommend that you pick up end range training, because that will help you to correct any imbalances that you may have. But this is still going to be a great warm-up drill for you, just to make you aware of your shoulders, and also help with that overhead stability as well. So many people find that one arm takes over the other one quite a bit, so this is a great drill to help to balance that out over time. So 3 reps on each arm, 3 sets you're going to do, and then you're going to go into your lighter movements of the actual workout movements. With your dumbbell thrusters, ideally what you want to do is clean from the bottom, so that you're going straight into the squat to get away with that first bit of a half squat. Make sure that whenever you go down that you break parallel, because this is the judging standard. Find a way that you can have your elbows, that means you can relax one head of the dumbbell on the shoulders, okay? So make sure you try a few practice reps if you've never done these before, and also see when you reach the top, don't be holding them all day, okay? That is going to really burn out your core if you're holding them up there and pausing at the top. We don't want to do that. So as soon as the elbows are locked out, bring them back down again. And if you need to go slower, so take a wee rest for a second, Jenny. If you need to go slower, make sure that you rest in this front rack position. It is only 4 reps, so if you can get away with it, you don't want to be breaking them up unless it's a very heavy weight for you. So if you are really good at double unders and your toes to bar aren't too bad, but you struggle with the weights, then you may want to break these down into twos. Just make sure you're not resting too much in between the sets. So make sure that if you're really struggling to come up from the bottom of the squat, if Jenny does a bit slower for me, you think about jumping when you get to about there, okay? So you want to try and, when you're at this point, you think about jumping so you're not having to use the arms at all. So you're just jump, boom, lock them out, bring them back down, okay? So make sure that you pick a technique that suits you and that you can sustain for the full 20 minutes as well. So luckily it is only 4 reps, but it is really going to challenge your core stability, which is then going to hinder your toes to bar as well. And when we start adding heavy breathing onto that, like this is just mean. It's just not right, man. Not right. For your toes to bar, you want to make sure that you're getting that really good snappy movement. So if we watch Jenny do 3 reps for me, you make sure you bring the feet behind the bar, because that's the judging standard. You squeeze the glutes in the back position, and you make sure to definitely get that definite touch. If you're a judge and you are struggling to see if someone's really 100% touching, just put your hand on the rig post. If you can, it will really help you be able to feel through the post if they're touching or not, okay? So if you're just not quite sure, you can't get a good angle, make sure to touch the post. Big things about the toes to bar, make sure that you keep the core on. So like we said in the warm-up, if you're like this and you relax everything, you will just start to swing. So if Jenny does that and she's just completely relaxed, as soon as her legs come back down, she's going to start to swing. And she's going to lose the kip as well. So it's going to become very inefficient for you. So if you can do toes to bar for small sets, keep the small sets from the start. Don't be burning yourself out in 6s. Maybe do 2-2-2 or 3-3 if you need to. If you're doing the knee raises, the same stuff applies. So if you really want to get good toes to bar later on, you need to make sure that when you push the feet back, that you're squeezing the glutes. Imagine you're kicking a wall behind you, and then you're just snapping everything closed whenever you're going, so that you're not just starting to swing willy-nilly. So you always want to be thinking about getting the lats going and making sure that you don't just overextend here whenever you're doing your reps, especially whenever it comes to 20 minutes. You don't want to start swinging and getting frustrated and jumping off the bar and getting annoyed with yourself. So make sure you're keeping them short and snappy, and to save your grip, if you need to, make sure and break the sets up early on. For the double unders, if you're new to CrossFit and you've not had much time to practice double unders, then make sure that you keep with the scaling and just to try and get as many rounds as possible. It's going to be a really great workout for you. If you still have been doing CrossFit for 6 months to a year and cannot do double unders, you are a bad person and you need to try harder. So that is your own problem. There are plenty of videos on double unders out there. Definitely go and look at some, and make sure, if you really suck at double unders, to practice them every warm-up, okay? So you've only got a couple of days to try and get better at them. You knew they were going to come up, so if you've been doing CrossFit for a long time and still really struggle with double unders, you've got to get that practice in, you've got to get that time in, so you nail that skill. After you finish the workout and you've finally peeled yourself back up off the floor, what we're going to do is stretch the hip flexors and shoulders at the same time. So very efficient. Jenny's going to set herself up in the couch stretch. She's going to make sure that she pulls the pelvis underneath herself and sits up from the front, so she's getting a true stretch. Especially if you do your double unders like this, you're going to make sure that you're going to open up at the front, or you're going to feel stiff later on. So what we're going to do is combine this with a nice shoulder stretch as well. It's going to reach up and over with the same side arm, grab her elbow, and then just pull in like that and give herself a nice lat stretch, similarly to what you were getting in the warm-up as well. So just hold that, and again, if you're still getting your breath back, guys, if you want to hold it for a minute, that's absolutely fine. So hold this for a minute and then go to the other side. So just again, put your foot up on the bench. Don't be worried about trying to get your foot to touch your butt. Just make sure that you're feeling a nice stretch at the front, and then you can sort of sink into it and just lean yourself over to the side. And don't be afraid to have a little bit of a wiggle. Just don't do any really fast, jerky movements like that, okay? So move around in the stretch and just really get your breathing relaxed again, okay? And if you are going to be one of those serial repeaters, if you had a bad double under day, definitely make sure and do these exercises after the workout, and especially this next one. So you're going to do a calf stretch on the bench. If you don't have a bench, you could use a bumper plate. Put your foot on so that the heel is on the ground and the ball of the foot is on the stand or the bumper plate, and then you just reach yourself over, hands on the bench, and then from there just push the hips back as far as you can and just straighten out the knee nice and slowly, and see, can you get a nice calf stretch. And again, don't be afraid to give yourself a little bit of a wiggle in this position and just spend a bit of time there. So again, a minute each side, and if you feel pretty good after, then you could just do 2 rounds. If you're feeling really like you'll be stiff later, you're going to repeat, then do 3 rounds. So do a minute each side in the couch stretch for the shoulder stretch, and then a minute each leg as well for the calf stretch. Okay, guys?